guys, my name is Lauren and welcome back to my channel. Today we're looking at our March budget recap and it was kind of an expensive month. I'm going to dive right into it, but before I do, if you like this spreadsheet, you can get it in my Etsy shop. It will be linked in the video description, and I'm actually running a sale for the month of April. So if you want to get this spreadsheet at a discount, you can use promo code April2023 for 20% off. Okay, so taking a look at our March budget, we had budgeted total income of $11,055, and this is net income. The spreadsheet does come with net and gross templates, so if you want to budget your gross income before any paycheck deductions come out or anything, you can do that, but we are using the net budget spreadsheet today. We budgeted just over $11,000 and we brought in $11,707, so that was good. I always try to be conservative with our income because it does fluctuate based on a couple things for both me and my husband, and so we were able to bring in $652 more than we had budgeted, which is awesome. What's not so awesome is we had a lot of big expenses in March that weren't totally planned for. As much as we really try to plan with our sinking funds and to be like really tight with our budget, there's just things that come up that are more expensive than we expect, especially with inflation. I feel like some things have just been so expensive. So let's get into it. First of all, we've got Pay Yourself First, which is investing. And this month has been so long, I forgot this even happened this month when I just started filming this video. So we got a tax refund for our 2022 taxes that came in at the beginning of March. And as soon as it came in, I made a contribution immediately to my 2022 Roth IRA to max it out for 2022 at $6,000. So that was super exciting. We contributed $2,475 to my Roth IRA. Maxed out 2022, wasn't expecting to be able to do that because I thought we were actually going to owe taxes, but we got a refund, so that swing was very nice to have that rather than owing, and I got to max out my Roth IRA. So that was a happy surprise. That was a good thing to happen this month for sure. And then for stock options, we were just working on my Roth IRA, well, my 2022 Roth IRA, and then now that that's done, we're going to be moving over to the stock options, which is our next investing goal for this year, and then we'll try to fund my 2023 Roth once we're done with our stock options. So nothing for stock options this month, but for investing, we invested $2,475, which is so awesome because that's on top of the 401k contributions that come directly out of my husband's paycheck. So I think we might have hit $3,000 for investing this month, which is great. Okay, for debt, we have one debt left on our debt-free journey, my husband's student loans. So we made our minimum payment of $830, and then we made an extra payment, well actually two extra payments for a total of $260. So we paid $1,090 towards debt. So that was $71 more than we had budgeted for. And so again, even though it was an expensive month, we were able to put a lot of money to investing and some little extra money towards debt payoff. So I was really happy about that. And so yeah, $1,090 for debt for the month. Moving over to expenses, all of our expenses were basically on budget. All of our fixed expenses, the variable expenses are the bottom half down here. These are all variable expenses. Just a couple things to note. One, our car insurance did go up. I'm not exactly sure why, but we're going to be moving in, what's today? We're moving in almost exactly 1 month. So when we move, we're going to have to update our address anyway. And when I call to do that, I'll ask them about this so I don't have to call twice. Or it's going to change anyway because when your address changes, the rates change. So yeah, I'm going to call next month and ask about that. What else? Okay, groceries, we budgeted $13.75. So we budget, what do we budget? $275 a week. And in March, there were 5 weeks that I got groceries. So it's a little higher grocery month. Every third month is more expensive because there's a fifth week that, it falls on the day we do groceries. So we budgeted $13.75. We spent $13.90, which was $15 over budget. When it comes to groceries, if I'm within $20 of our budget for the month, then I count that as on budget. So we were on budget for groceries for March, which feels good because we had been going over the past few months and then after budget, and then we were basically in budget. So that's just something you got to do over time as your life changes and your expenses change and things become more expensive, or now we have another mouth to feed because our baby is eating solids and she's actually eating quite a bit. It's just so crazy. She eats a lot actually. And our toddler has been going through a growth spurt. every time I feed her, she's like, I'm hungry. And then I feed her something else, I'm hungry. Like literally eating all day long the past couple weeks. I had to go back to the grocery store for an extra trip just to get more stuff because she had like eaten through all of her food. They between the two of them, they definitely eat more than I do. So yeah, just that's the expense of having more mouths to feed. So yeah, happy that we upped our budget and that amount seems to be better to fit our family's needs. Next, for gas, we spent $143 on a budget of $150, so that's been going okay for us. And then for medical, we had budgeted $250, spent $254, so that was fine. And then miscellaneous, we spent the $25 miscellaneous. So that actually, I opened another high yield savings account because I wanted to have, like we have one and I want to have a second one that we can put the money from the sale of our home in and just like have it separated out so we don't like touch it or anything. And I like just easier to have your money in a couple different places. So that $25 was actually like the funding to open the account, but I just put it under miscellaneous because I didn't know, like I didn't have another place to put it and we didn't have other expenses this month that needed to be put in that category. Okay, on to the sinking funds, which is my favorite and least favorite. Well, it's like, I love it. I have a love-hate relationship with sinking funds. They work really well to help those like other expenses that come up that you don't necessarily remember on a month-to-month basis or like random stuff that comes up. But they stress me out because when big stuff comes up and these sinking funds go negative, like I really hate it. They're all in one checking account. So if one fund is technically negative, it's not really because it's all one pile of money. But anyway, so first of all, for emergency fund, we didn't spend any money. It's a negative $2,500 because we put $2,500 back in here. This money was in our high yield savings account and I moved it over back to our checking account just so we can have our full emergency fund of $7,500 in our checking account because we are selling our house and closing, like I said, we're moving like almost exactly a month. So I just felt more comfortable having like almost all of our cash in one place for different expenses that come up. And yeah, I just wanted to have it all in one place, easily accessible. Our high yield savings account is easy to access, but it does take like 24 to 48 hours for the money to move over. And so I wanted to have it all in one place for this month. And then we can figure out next what we want to do from there in terms of like where we want to have all our money sit. So yeah, that has a balance of $7,500 now. And that is our entire emergency fund. I would love to bump that up after we close on our house. I would love to like use some of the money to bump up our emergency fund. So we're gonna look into that and see how the numbers play out. But I really like to have more than like, that's really like maybe like 1 month of expenses or like 1.5. And I'd really like to have more like 3 to 6 months of necessary expenses. So stay tuned for more on that. Vacation fund is still at $1,500. This money's been sitting here for like a year. We keep saying we're gonna go on vacation. I think we may actually take a trip at the end of the summer, and then I know we're taking a trip in December, so we're gonna use this money this year. It's just not yet. It's been like winter and beginning of spring, and I just like, we were selling our house now, so obviously we're not going anywhere before that's done. We need to get settled in our new place and then like breathe for a second before we plan to like pick up and go anywhere with 2 small children. Oops, I usually block this out. Well, you guys got to see where we're at. That's fine. My husband's spending, he ended with $3. We each get, like my husband, myself, and our 2 daughters each get $150. So he ended with $3. I ended with $182 in my fund. One of my daughters had negative $10 and the other had $66. Moving on to girls' activities / preschool. Okay, this was one of the expenses that came up this month. So we budgeted $1,100 because I knew there was a fee that we were gonna have to pay this month. It actually ended up being a higher fee than I thought it was. So we ended up putting $1,250 and we spent $1,270, so we ended with $9 in this fund. For my cat Miles, we had $258 for him and we added $250. We did spend $133 and so he ended with $375. I do place food orders for him because he has prescription food like quarterly, so I think I'll be doing that in April, so I'll be spending like most of this money in here. But I'm glad that his fund has been working out better. He was going negative in his fund for a while because we had him, I think it was at 200 or 225, I can't remember, but 250 has been like seeming like a better amount for him to maintain his expenses. All right, for gifts, we had $8 in here and we budgeted $150. We spent $157, so we ended with $1 in that fund. I always think we're not going to have gifts to buy, and then we have gifts to buy. I don't know why I always think, oh, well, now that person's married and that person had a baby and this and that. Like, there's not going to be more. We don't know more people, but then inevitably, like, oh yeah, I forgot. So there's just always gifts to give, and we do enjoy giving gifts to like people that we care about. So I like having a fund for this. But yeah, we don't have a lot of cushion there. There's only $1 in there. So I got to make sure what we're putting in here is keeping up, but it's okay for now, just by a very slim margin. Car maintenance, we had $92 in there. We put $50 and we spent $135. So again, this one's not super cushy, but there are $7 in there. So we're at least positive there. Unlike our house maintenance fund, which it's not really a surprise, like we knew this was going to happen. You know, I was optimistic we wouldn't have to put too much money into our house, but there's certain things that you want to do that like you put money in so you can get more out of it when you sell a home. And so yeah, we started out with negative $61 in here. We budgeted $250. We spent $885, which actually is more than $885 because we got a refund of, let me see, $230 on something in this amount. So we spent like over $1,000 on our house this month to prepare it for sale and stuff like that. And so we are negative in this fund by quite a bit, $696. I think I'm not going to worry about it too much, and I'm just going to take money out of the closing proceeds and, you know, refund this. So essentially this is a loan from our emergency fund, which I don't love. Well, technically it's not because we still have $9,400. So it's basically a loan from like the other sinking funds. So we could like say it's a loan from the vacation fund or whatever. But either way, I don't love having a negative sinking fund, especially with the balance this negative. But on the flip side, like this is why we do sinking funds. So we have that little bit of cushion, and this is like not a typical situation where we're selling our house. Like this is only something you do a couple times in your life, hopefully. So yeah, it's not something we could have like really budgeted for exactly. And even if we had, I could have put less towards debt payoff over the past few months and then had more cash to pay for these things. But we didn't know exactly what we were gonna have to pay for, how much it was gonna be. And since we're paying interest on our debt, I'd rather just, you know, pay off debt, make debt payments, and just, you know, have a little bit of a negative sinking fund for a month or so and then pay it off once we close on our house. So that's how we did it. Not everybody's way of doing it. It's basically a loan from ourselves. It's not like we're actually in debt, but I don't love seeing a negative number that's that big. So I am looking forward to, let's see, it'll have to be like the May budget closeout. So it'll be a little bit before that goes positive, but a couple months that will be positive again. Okay, this one hurts. Utilities. We started out with $15. We budgeted $400. But no, that was not enough. It was actually $800 for utilities this month. It is weird because it added up to exactly $800. I'll show you the breakdown here. So our electricity was $377, our gas was $230, and then we had a quarterly sewer bill that came out that was $193, and all of that adds up to exactly $800. Ugh. So yeah. I have to say, when we're in the apartment, I'm looking forward to our utilities being much lower. The person at the apartment who we worked with for like signing the lease and everything did say that typical utilities, like the most you'll pay is between $150 and $200 a month, and it may be less than that in like, you know, more mild weather months. So I'm hoping that that's accurate because that would be a significant decrease. And I'll show you guys a breakdown once we're actually in the apartment and I know the expenses, like what they actually end up being, of what we're paying for housing costs now versus what we're paying for the apartment. And the apartment rent is significantly higher than our current mortgage, but I think it's not going to be much more expensive than our total housing costs when you add in utilities and property taxes and like all the stuff that we're paying for the house versus the apartment, just the rent and the utilities and the renter's insurance. So yeah, I will do a breakdown on that because I think it's interesting to look at that, something I was weighing as we were making this decision, obviously. So yeah, but we have $15 in this fund. I'm gonna be glad to be done paying utilities in this house in just a couple months. So yeah, it was a very expensive winter here, but we're making it through. 15 bucks in there, but it is positive. So yeah, basically I just put all this extra money that we made an extra like $652. It mostly went towards the sinking fund, so this extra we put towards the girls activities fund and then also for utilities. So that's where that money mostly went, a little bit towards extra debt payoff and stuff. But And then finally, we've got Christmas / girls' birthdays. We just put $150 in there, didn't touch it. So we've got $450. My daughter's birthday is in May, my older daughter, and so we will be using some of that soon to pay for her birthday. So we start out with $7,565. We budgeted $2,950. We actually put in $3,500 into our sinking funds, and we spent $1,663. So we ended with $9,402. Obviously, part of that big difference is the $2,500 that we put back into our checking account from our emergency fund. So I like this balance being like around $10,000 to $12,000. So we're a little short because of this big negative, but you know, that's okay. It's temporary. So I will be glad once we close and we have that cash so we can not be negative. So let's take a look at the summaries because this is really exciting this month. Actually, we budgeted 22.4% of our after-tax income to go towards Pay Yourself First, and we did put 21.1%, so a huge chunk to Pay Yourself First this month. We also budgeted 9.2% to debt, and we put 9.3%. And then for expenses, we had budgeted 41.7, so we ended up putting 39.7. And then for sinking funds, we budgeted 26.7% of our money, and we put 29.9. So just visually, you can see it's pretty similar. Because we did have some extra income that went to mostly sinking funds. You can see the sinking funds is a little bit bigger, and then everything else is a little bit smaller. But, you know, we're doing pretty good with putting our money where we planned to put it for the month, and that's the goal. So that is it for the March budget recap. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so excited for the months coming up where I'm gonna get to show you like where we close on our house and what we do with all that money, and you know, make some big decisions about our finances and see where things go from here. So thank you guys so much for watching. As I mentioned, if you like the spreadsheet, you can get it on my Etsy shop, and it will be on sale with the promo code April 2023, 20% off for the month of April. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, and if you want to see more from me, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.